I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. I am so excited about today's episode. I have Lauren House with me. She is a realtor, and today we are going to explore how organizing and real estate go hand in hand, because we all know they do. And we wanted to dive into how we can work together to create real impact for our clients, but a lot of other stuff along the way. I think this is going to be a great conversation. Lauren has been in real estate since 2008, and she holds licenses in 3 states, which that's a lot. So we're going to get into all sorts of stuff. So thank you, Lauren, for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I haven't spoken to this topic yet, but it is so important. So I'm very excited to do this.
Let's just jump straight in. If you were to meet an organizer, right? And she were to say, Lauren, what can I do to help your clients or to help you have better sales for your clients? What's maybe the few things that you would be like, listen, girl, here's what you need to know?
Yeah, sellers, we're going to just blame it on sellers right now because that's who we're talking about. Sellers get used to their own stuff, their own mess, their own ick in the house. And so they can't see their house through a buyer's eyes, which means when they look around and they consider it clean, it's really not clean. So when a real estate agent comes in and we're taking a look around and we can see the house needs to be a little more deep cleaned. There's a lot of clutter in places. We ask them to move things out of the way, or can you hide this or whatever? And people don't really know what that means. And they kind of give a good enough vibe, if you will. So to have somebody who knows how to organize come in and actually take care of the space. The goal is to sell the house, which means that we need the buyer to walk in and feel like they could live there. And a buyer can't do that if the seller has their stuff everywhere. So that is why we need somebody of a professional mindset to come in and use their eye to get everything untangled and let it be a house that looks staged, even though it's not. So the organizer's job is to come in and make it look like it's Pinterest perfect.
Yeah. Well, and with a lot of my clients, I like to use the word depersonalizing. I feel like people understand what that means because of exactly that. I'm like, listen, we need to depersonalize the house so other potential people walking in can actually see themselves living in it. If it's got your kids' photos and your kids' whatever,
Yes.
and they can't see I wouldn't walk into someone the second you see other people's stuff in a space, there's no way that you can feel like it's your own home.
Right. You want to create a feeling of anonymous. You know what I'm trying to say? You want to make it feel like no one lives there, even though someone does. And there is a specific way to do that. I'm not sure I could do that for myself because it's I'm living there. Oh, I need this out. I need this out. But there really is a way to make it kind of give the energy, because energy is a really big thing I hear buyers talk about. They can walk in and say this house has bad energy. This house has good energy, and they can feel whatever it is. And then on top of it, you have to think about when they leave that house, what's the feeling that's going with them? Because a buyer gives a list of things to the real estate agent. We need this many bedrooms, bathrooms, a pool, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is there's no emotion in that. So here I am just sending a list, and it isn't until you get into the house and the amount of comments that will be made in a positive way if the house is clean, organized, depersonalized, decluttered. It's amazing how no matter how the buyer lives, everybody walks in and will be like, wow, I wish my house was this clean. And that's the feeling they leave with, rather than leaving with ugh, I didn't want to touch anything in there. It feels dirty. Or there's a giant wall of family photos and all you can think about is the family and who lives here. And you're like, okay. And that's a distraction. And you want to make sure your house has no distractions, which is also part of your job. That's why you guys come in and you make it pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
clean and easy.
And right. Well, and I think I think that's the other piece because I'm working with a client right now that her realtor referred her to me and we're getting the house ready and with her, they actually have the luxury of going ahead and moving out before they put the house on the market. Not everyone has that luxury. A lot of people need to sell before they can then turn around and buy, or they're kind of in that in between. And so I think they get so overwhelmed by where they want to buy and if it's going to sell and then all of the plumbing that might need to be fixed or all these things that I don't think a lot of sellers, like even realtors, I don't think a lot of them realize how beneficial we could be to them with their clients on the front end and on the back end. Like even once they buy a house, like we can come in and, as a realtor, I'm sure you give gifts or I've always heard that realtors give like a basket or a cutting board or a whatever. And for me, it's like, why wouldn't you buy like a session with an organizer as a gift? Like one session, let them help you, with whatever you need help with in your home. I've had a few realtors do that and they're like, wow, my realtor's the best because she got me this, which took weight off of my shoulders. And so I think trying to help not just organizers understand how we can help realtors, but also helping realtors understand that the organizers can help them and that if we would collaborate more, it'd be better for everyone all the way around.
Right. It's almost like the real estate agent themselves need to have you come over and show you what they can do, because talking about it's one thing, but this year I feel like I've just extra driven home. Like the experience is what changes your mind about something. I can tell you all day long, like, yes, it needs to be clean and organized, but walking into it is a different feeling. And that's exactly what you're saying. But I don't know that a real estate agent would know the power of it unless they've had that experience themselves. So maybe that's something you could do is like give, I don't know, some sort of discount or something for the real estate agent, because once they know like this feels so good, they're going to want to share that because it's a huge benefit. Like you said, it is a weight off the shoulders.
Well, and it's actually funny you say that because the realtor that referred me, she referred me because I've worked with her. She called me to help her in her own home. And now she refers me. And I've had so much struggle getting others to understand the benefit. But that's a really good point. It's hard to explain what we do. And that's why, like, the way I teach, I do sessions instead of packages. And so a lot of my clients, I'm doing like, we can just do 1 or 2 sessions and then maybe later on come back in or whatever at their own pace. And I feel like with realtors, even if it's like, hey, I'll give you a discount on one room, like, or, you, whatever room you pick, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but even just going in and helping them with their master closet or with, like, it doesn't have to be their whole house, right? But even if we can just help take some of the weight off the realtor's shoulders in their own home, they're going to become our biggest marketer, which is why I always tell my clients, if you'll let me come do one session with you, then we can decide from there, because I know the second they do a session, they're hooked.
Oh, it's like getting your house cleaned. Like you don't like them in your house, but you love the way it feels when they leave. And that's the addiction. You're like, okay, I need my house cleaned professionally every week because I can't live without it. So yes, I totally agree with you. It's the experience. And yeah, I call them your warriors. Like once somebody believes you and likes what you do, it's really easy for them to speak to it and to look for opportunities because they like you. They like what you're offering and they want to support you.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. With you having a license in 3 different states, do you find that it's different in the different states of kind of what people are expecting and like how organizers can support? Or is it kind of across the board typically like in California, do they expect things to be way more minimal typically than they do in maybe Arizona or, wherever else that or is it pretty much typically the same across the 3 markets that you're in?
It is the same. It's definitely like the person who walks into the house, the buyer, it's like a projection. So if they're clean, it's the mirror that they want to see when the house is clean and organized. And it allows them to move quicker on that. And it's a faster decision because it feels comfortable. I don't really know if like a clean and organized house scares a dirty or messy person, but they always have the most comments. And it's just like lately I've shown a lot of dirty houses, which is probably why this is sticking so hard with me. And it's like every time we leave, it's like the buyer's always just like, I don't want to be in there. And it sucks because that seller is missing out on an opportunity to sell the house, but nobody's telling them, or maybe the seller just isn't hearing the advice that the real estate agent is giving them, which is to make sure that you need to have it clean and presentable. But it goes back to everybody just they live in their own ick, and
Yeah.
it really is hard to see it. So like something I tell my sellers, I'm like, if you don't want to go above and beyond, like get a organizer and get a professional housekeeper, like you need to take the picture on your own phone and see where your eye is drawn to and remove that, whatever it is that doesn't look good in the picture, because that's the only way I can get them to see like how much there unorganization there is and how much work there is to be done. Does
That
that
is
make
so
sense?
funny. So, absolutely. So, I tell my girls all the time, take photos, right? And
Mhm.
there's so many reasons, but one of the biggest is because when I take a before photo and then I work with my client and then I take an after photo, of course, that's great for marketing and all the things. But also, when I'm standing in the after and I show the client, this is what it looked like when we got started today or we got started last week, they're like, it looked like that. They literally do not see it until
Mhm.
it's in a photo because we're like clutter blind. But the second it's on a photo, our brains can actually see it. So that's genius that you're telling them take a photo and then see where your eye is drawn.
Because that's usually what needs to be removed, or it's like the mirror of, oh, this is what my place looks like, and hopefully they're
Right.
self-aware enough to understand like what the point of the exercise is. Yeah, I feel like it's just that feeling overall with buyers in any city I work in, for just how the house makes them feel as a whole, which again is distractions, energy, cleanliness, organization, and depersonalization.
You've officially launched your business, but now you're wondering, what do I even say to clients? How do I make sure I'm doing it right? Most new organizers feel that way at first, and that's okay. You do not have to have it all figured out alone, which is why I have created the How to Work with Clients course. This is where I show you how to walk into every interaction, whether it's a phone call, consultation, or full organizing day, with confidence and clarity. You'll learn how to guide clients from that first inquiry all the way through the last session. I'll teach you how to coach through emotional moments, measure and plan spaces, communicate expectations clearly, and create that wow experience that turns your clients into your super fans. You'll also get access to real client paperwork and session flow tools that make the process feel professional and authentic for both you and your clients. This is step 3 on your way to becoming a certified POC organizer, and it's the key to becoming the kind of professional that clients can trust and refer. Go to proorganizersacademy.com and take the next step toward becoming the confident, client-serving organizer you are called to be. So if they can't move out of the house and you're working with the actual seller of the home, right? Do you advise them to get like a storage unit to put their stuff in? What's your typical where you want them to put their things? Because here's the thing. Some clients are so ready to declutter when they move, but others have this mindset of, well, I don't know if I'm going to need it in the new home or not. So I need to hold on to everything because I might need it in the new space, right? So then they want to take I find it's either one or the other. They want to take nothing and they want to start new, or they want to take everything because they don't know what they're going to need yet. So if it's one of those types of clients that is like, oh, I need to hold on to everything, do you want them to get a storage unit? Do you normally say like box it up, put it in the garage? What's kind of the advice?
I tell them just to organize it. Whatever that means to them. I am not a huge fan of storage units, so like I would never personally encourage that, because I also don't want them to take on another bill if it's like not something that they have planned for. I think what I really do is I just try to get it listed when, or at least pictures done, since that's the first step, when they've already done the hard work or the heavy lifting, right? And then usually what I do is I have a pre-listing like appointment before we go live. We go through the house for anything, whether it's fixes, repairs, paint, organizing. and I suggest things, and you can see by the motion on their, or the look on their face, how they feel by what it is that I'm asking them to do. And at some point you can't force someone to do something that they don't want to do. So if they don't find it important, at that point, I'm just pushing and forcing, and it's not going to work. But that's when the feedback comes in. And that's when I can use the feedback that I'm getting from buyers and from showings and from agents, especially if it's in writing, and I can forward it to them. Like, the house needs to be cleaned. The house needs to be cleaned. The house needs, like, how many times can I say that? I say that. Every buyers are saying that. 8 other people are saying that. And that's kind of the leverage I have to use in order to get people to understand that what they see is not what other people are seeing and experiencing. So yeah, I try to get all that heavy lifting done and out of the way beforehand. I guess I've been lucky with that now that I think about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, because with a lot of people, I think what you're saying too about the energy of the home as well, right? Like, it's like, listen, put yourself in the shoes of when you're going to look in a home. If you go in a home and it's cluttered or it's dirty, you're not going to want to buy that home. Plus, I wish there was like a statistic of some sort, and maybe there is, and I just don't know about it, of like the cost you would get for a home that's dirty versus the cost you would get for that same home that's like clean and organized. Like, I wish there was some kind of like, listen, this is going to give you so much more ROI, or like,
yeah, I'm wondering if it's more like more interest. You're going to have more people fighting for the home, and a cleaner home actually supports the number that they want, as long as it's in the range that the house should be listed in, like the price range. A cleaner home will support the higher end of that price point, because people feel like you've taken great care of the house. People feel like they're not walking into a money pit, essentially. And those are like these little subconscious things that people don't understand about having a house that's ready, presentable, clean, organized. They just kind of let it go, because I think people want to do the least amount of work and get the most amount of money, and it doesn't work like
they
that.
Do.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, and I think that's what drives me nuts, is because I've had, some that I come in and help, and there was this one lady that I'm like, listen, okay, I get that you want to keep everything. And that's why I was asking about the garage or the storage unit or whatever. I finally talked her into, I was like, listen, even if we can just pack it up in bins that are all like, most of the bins match, let's put them in the garage so it looks somewhat like presentable, right? And let's get all of that stuff in there. Then we can figure it out from there. And so by the time the photos were done, they looked amazing, because the depersonalization of it ended up just being a bunch of bins in the garage, but it worked, right? And I feel like a lot of buyers are okay with there being bins in the garage. Like, that's something people just expect, right?
Yeah.
They just don't want to see it in the middle of the floor and on the counter and on the, all the things.
Yes. Or even like a room that's starting to get packed, but there's no boxes. So everything's just laying out. I was just in a house yesterday, and it was like the den was just full of stuff that needed to be put in boxes. And it was like, I just stood there for a few minutes, and I was like, wow, look at all this stuff. I'm like, wait, we're supposed to be looking at the house. But
right. And all you're looking at is the stuff.
Exactly. Yes. It's like kind of mind blowing to see, especially when you're a new real estate agent. But if you're a buyer, you're only going out once every 5, 7, 10 years to go look at houses. It's mind blowing to see how people live, how differently people live than you live, because you're just used to whatever your normal is. So then all of a sudden you get into this house that's, either immaculate or it's a disgusting pigsty. And either way, you're just like blown away that, oh my gosh, people live like this and people live like that, And
yes.
So that's where we're trying to eliminate that by having the organization come in, because if you can have someone come in and make it look perfect, essentially, you're going to have better result quicker. And that's the goal, to sell quick for more money. And if you can give that feeling off, people will fight for the house. I mean, that's what people want.
Yeah, which drives the money up. So you're going to get your money back. Like, it's an investment worth making to have people come in and support you as you're getting ready to sell, for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a quality product. It feels well cared for. And they will always take a second look if it's on their short list versus a house that's dirty or gross is immediately off. There's no question about it.
Well, what's so funny is not too long ago, there was one of my members in my group coaching membership. She had sent this photo through our app that we all like talk to each other on. And someone had a professional photographer come in and take photos of a house that, I mean, the clutter was everywhere, all over the countertops. All, like they hadn't done a thing. They just had the photographer come in, take photos, and they put them out at like that. Like,
to the world?
Yes, to the world.
That's horrifying.
To the point, right, to the point where the second you saw it, all you could see was all the stuff on the counters. I can't even tell you what the house looked like because all I saw was all of the stuff on the counters. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how can someone, a real estate agent, anyone, let their potential buyer put their house out like this? Like, I guarantee it never sold, or if it did, it was for one of those really cheap people that just come in and like clear
like
a house out
style.
after.
Yeah.
Yes.
it.
Yeah. They're like too much clutter.
Yeah. I mean, there are times when you have a lot of pushback that you're trying and trying and trying to get your point across. And it's kind of one of those like, why did you hire me if you don't trust what I say? Right. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, sellers have a lot of expenses when they are selling their house. And one of those big expenses is bringing the house up to par, just to like that normal level of standard if it's not already there. So I think that something like organizing probably gets put down on the lower rung of their priorities, even if it should be at the top, because they also have to like fix other things that might be found on the inspection report, for example. And so I don't think people realize how powerful it is to have an organized house for the buyer. I think that's like, there's a gap there.
No, I agree. And I think the more we talk about it, because organizing is still a very newer industry. I still have people be like, that's a thing, when I tell them what I do. It's so funny. I actually just went to, because I specialize a lot in decluttering. Most of my clients are more decluttering than anything. And so I'm at the dump a lot. And I went to the dump yesterday and I had my assistant with me. And the guy walks over and he goes, "Can I ask you what you do?" I was like, yeah.
I see you here like, a little too often.
Yeah. He goes, "We've got a pool going here of what you do because we all see you here so often." So they were all trying to guess like what I did for a living because I'm constantly there. He didn't go, and he said he thought that I was the manager at Carm, which is like this like donation place that's around here. I guess he thought I was just bringing the trash from there. I'm like, okay, close. But I was so confused and it was cracking me up. But it got me thinking about the fact that, like, more people notice, but a lot of people still don't realize it's a thing. Like, I still get looks whenever, I tell people what I do, where they're kind of like, wait, what's that? Or what does that mean? Or how does that work? Or, so it's still a newer industry. So I think the more that we can talk about it and get word out about it, the better it's going to be, especially for, like, I think people think of the Pinterest perfect pantries. They think of like the rich being able to afford it. They don't think of like when you're selling your home, when you're buying a home, when you are just living your everyday life, maybe for a Mother's Day present, or like they don't think about it for those things. And I wish they would, or they end up mixing it up with being a cleaner and they think you're just going to come do a deep clean.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That's such a different industry. Like,
totally different
industry.
Yes.
I would never expect someone to do that. Okay.
Well, I was just to say, so a lot of my girls, I have them like practice this, like, this is what it looks like to work with me statement, because every person you run into, every consultation you do, you have to give it almost an example and kind of your process of what it looks like to work with you for people to comprehend how you can help them.
So do you think that it's because they don't feel like they need it? Or do you think it's like the exact opposite and they're very embarrassed because they probably do need it? And
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of it, but a lot of it is shame when it's more of the decluttering. it's shame. And then it's also assuming that it's going to be so expensive that they could never afford it. It's not for them. Like they're just an everyday person or a hardworking mom or and like that's for more of like the rich and famous or, and so it still has almost this stigma to it that it's not for the everyday person. But as soon as and that's why I love doing sessions, because as soon as you can get people to, and that's why I love also what you said. I think that's great advice about offering for real estate professionals like a discount of some sort so we can go in and, one room doing a discount even. Because once they get the power of it, they're hooked for life. Like, and they tell all their friends.
Totally. Because even just like reorganizing my closet once a quarter, every time it's like this big, deep sigh. I just got rid of bags of stuff and I'm like, I can breathe, right? But it's like, I don't really want to do it. Like, and every time I look, I'm like, I don't know how to organize this any better. So I'm just going to get rid of stuff that I don't want. But yeah, and I've heard that it's kind of similar to like a stylist, right? Like they can come into your closet because it's fresh for them and they can put together outfits that me as the homeowner, as the clothes owner would never see because I'm so used to my clothes. And I think that's what it is like a fresh set of eyes comes in. And it's like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And you're like, oh my gosh, I never saw it. So it really is. It sounds like people are scared because they have to be so vulnerable. Like they're letting someone into their house and into their very personal space. So I can maybe understand the shame, not that I have the shame, but I can understand where people come from with that. But as a seller, you kind of have to detach and know that it's all coming out of the house anyway. So like, let's make it look good and let's bring someone in to make what is left look good.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, for like older people and for a lot of the elderly, first off, they've never grown up with this because it is a newer industry. The other thing, if they've lived in their home like 20 years and now they're getting ready to sell and downsize and, or maybe move into an assisted living or whatever it is, they've got 20, 30 years of stuff in their house. And so for a lot of those clients, I'm like, listen, let's start now. Let's go ahead and start now, like, doing once a week or once every other week and just making our way through your house. Because a lot of them like to wait till the last minute. And then it's this mad dash to hurry and
a lot of work.
A lot. And then everyone's stressed and it's just too much at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So the bigger the house, the more stuff.
Time it takes and more stuff. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, people have a tendency to keep more if they have the space for it.
Yeah, they really do. I feel like they're like, oh, well, I've got the space, so I can just keep it, or I can just throw it in the garage, or I can just put it wherever. And then, like, I have one lady, I've been working with her. She's looking for a house now. And we've been working together, oh my gosh, probably almost a year now, like kind of off and on throughout this past year because she knew she was getting ready to move. And it's been so easy. Like now she's to the point of looking for a new house. And we can do 2-3 sessions and the last bits will be put together and she'll be ready to go on her way. But we've been working at it for a while, where if we hadn't started, 8-9 months ago, and then, there's other people that have called that they're like, oh, I'm moving next Saturday. Can you come help me? And I've lived in the house 30 years. Those are the types of calls that I'm like, I can't come help you if you're, needing to be out of the house within a couple of weeks and you've lived here however long. Like it takes time to go through this stuff. Like and it's a lot of personal work.
I can imagine it. I mean, even with all the manpower, I don't really know that it would be possible to go through that because that's hours and hours and multiple people. And yeah, I don't think I have unfortunately moved a lot over the last 5 years. I think I've moved like almost 10 times. So,
oh, wow.
And every time I move, I'm still thinking like, how do I still have so much? Right? Like, and I'm not even in a single house for more than a year, right? Maybe less. And it just blows my mind that I just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. So I have a rule that if I buy something of a certain genre, right? It's like what piece of clothes, I have to give one away.
Yes, that's the rule, please. One in, one out. And if you want to declutter even harder, do 1 in, 2 out. So then it makes the buying a little bit harder to where you're like, oh, are there 2 of these that I can let go?
Totally. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's mean, we're all attached to our things, which is why we end up having so much stuff in our house. And then when you go to sell and you have that moment of like, oh my gosh, I have so much in here. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
like the monstrosity of, oh, it's like panic. Like I have to be out of the house and I have too much to get out. And I really, yeah, you also like, there's shame in knowing how much money you spent on wasted items,
Yes. Oh
right?
yeah. Yes.
Like
And
there's,
some people know the like down to the cent what they spent on an item.
oh, wow. Yeah. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's probably the vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
one of the more vulnerable things you need to do. And I never really thought of it like that. So you've really opened my eyes to it. I do think it's important.
Yes.
I just didn't
Well, and
realize how like nitty gritty it can get to like,
oh,
oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and everybody has different, emotional attachment to different things and different things that are important to them. And sometimes they want to tell the stories and, it just takes time and effort. But I did have a question for you. So, if for any of my listeners that are organizers, right, and they're like, hey, I love the idea of reaching out to a local professional and offering them a discount, right? How would you be most receptive as a real estate professional if an organizer was reaching out to you to offer you something like that?
Well, I am a no fluff person. So I do not want anything. I don't want it to be any like, no, don't beat around the bush. It would just be like, hey, I'm an organizer. I would love to do one room for you. I think that it needs to come with, at least this is very much my own perspective. It needs to come with like, if I, as the organizer, see anybody who I know is going to be selling the house, I would like to also send them. Like, I think that people want a mutually beneficial partnership. And it's not just like, I sell you and you take from me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it needs to be
Yeah.
a two-way street. And maybe for a little while, you give away free sessions because that's obviously going to get someone through the door much quicker than 10% off. I don't know what it costs, but it's 10%, 20%, 50% off. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to feel like exactly what you said, a luxury added bonus to life that they don't
Mm-hmm.
really need to spend the money on. So if you can forego a session with one person to make more money down the road, that's kind of how I look at it with like tenants. It's like we make $200 on a freaking transaction, but I know that they're going to buy in a year. So, like, okay, I'll do the work. Same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, very similar. And I also wonder if it's more of like if I was a real estate person, even if it's like, hey, I will come, like, you don't have to offer me to your clients, but for your clients, I'll even give a discount in the future if you wanted to, for anyone that like bought a house from you, if you wanted to offer me as
Mhm.
like the gift, I'd even give a discount on that to help, because I feel like for you as real estate professionals, and I could be wrong, the gift that you give your client, it kind of makes a difference. Or like because I end up talking to a lot of people that are like, oh, my real estate professional got me this when we moved in, right? And it ends
Mhm.
up being something that just kind of got stuck on a shelf somewhere. And so, but then I've also worked with some people that have had their real estate people get them a session to unpack their kitchen, for instance, when they first moved in. That's
Mhm.
something they were still talking about years later. So I feel like that helps also the real estate professional bond with that client more, to where that client is now talking about that real estate to their friends as well. Like,
Oh
in my
yeah.
mind, it would be a two-way street in that sense, to where they would both be able to support the client, but now the client becomes a marketing machine for both the real estate person and the
Right.
organizer.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. I've never myself thought to. I don't even know if I know any organizers in Scottsdale or Miami, to be honest. But I've never thought of doing that. But when it comes time to get a gift, I always think, what can I do that's going to mean something? I'm not going to get them a Cutco knife that says Lauren House is the sharpest realtor in town. That's so effing cheesy. I can't do it. Right. But that's what we're taught to give as gifts, is to like something and do it with a red handle so it sits in the drawer and they're going to recognize you. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Right. Like I've gotten everything from, people love like these personalized wine glasses I get with like a really nice bottle of wine. So like they always have the wine glass, all the way up to like Cartier watches because it was a giant house and a lot of money. And so I've like done everything in between. But this is such a good one because it's an experience and they're going to call you again. Like it's almost like we're supporting you long term as well, because if the client enjoys the experience, they can give your name out to friends. They can call you back when it's like, I don't know what to do with my Christmas stuff, right? Like whatever it is.
Yes.
And so, yeah, like I'm all about, I have a list actually of all my friends and my clients who have businesses. And when it's time to buy a gift, I try and buy from my clients so that I can support them. And then it opens the door to new business for them with this person who they don't know. Just something.
I think that was really powerful. Say that again, because I think that like, so your clients, your friends, you keep a list of the ones that are entrepreneurs. So then whenever it's time for Christmas or whatever, you can support them, but you're also keeping that list of those people.
Correct. So like I have a girlfriend with a makeup line. I have my chiropractor's client. So I have all these different people. So when somebody comes to me and they're talking or I hear something, I'm like, oh, I have somebody for you. Right. It's like selfishly, it keeps me in front of my client because then I can text somebody and say, hey, I just sent this person to you. But they also know I'm thinking of them. I'm supporting them. I also know it's a good product, or my chiropractor's great and I trust him with my body, which means that this client should trust him with their body. And it's just kind of like just a happy connection. Like, why not? You know, we'd rather take a referral from someone we know than someone we don't know. So that's been something that I've tried to like incorporate into my business as well.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Speaking of your business, we tell everyone like where they can find you, all the good stuff.
You're funny. You can find me in Scottsdale or Miami. No, I'm pretty much, my handles are Lauren M. House on every single platform. And I primarily sell in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley in Arizona and Miami in Florida.
That is amazing. I don't know how you juggle it all. That's fantastic.
Question of the year, girl.
Yeah. Right? Like, how do we all do it?
Still figuring it out.
Yeah, no joke. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you. And if any of you guys want to go follow Lauren or have any additional questions for her, just DM her, reach out to her. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to chit chat or answer your questions. And thank you so much. And for those of you listening, we will catch you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.